So I'm really excited to give you guys some updates about what we are doing among the Cameroonian IDPs in Nigeria. Thank you once again to all who donated. We're so grateful. Dr. Sesson, one of our board members, as well as Pastor Joel, who coordinated our 2 Benue outreaches, spent last weekend with the refugees at Ogoja settlement in Cross River State, where the United Nations set up a settlement for at least 7,000 refugees. Special thanks to the UN for letting us come in and be a part of what they are doing among these refugees. The UN is really doing an amazing job in getting them settled. So thank you so much to the UN, and also huge thanks to the Director General of SEMA for welcoming us as well. We couldn't do any of this without the UN and SEMA's cooperation. So last weekend we dug a borehole. Yay! And of course, the people were so excited to finally have water right in the settlement. Prior to that, the UN has been bringing them water from outside, but now they have a borehole right in the settlement. So we are really excited for them. So we are getting them 2 big tanks to hold up to 10,000 liters of water so that they can just turn on the tap instead of having to pump, because there's a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of line. This is really significant because remember that we are also going to build them toilets. So we'll be able to channel some of the water from the borehole to the toilet. So we're really excited for them about that. This is an example of the toilet that they presently have. This is what a family of 7 using. So the second thing that they did last weekend was to distribute 1,000 reusable pads for women. Yay! For real, you have to be a woman to understand the importance of this. When you're a refugee and you're on your period, it's not funny at all. In fact, we wanted to give just the younger ladies, but you need to come and see the women. The grown-up women were like, we will not be left out of this. I heard that they fought until they were also given pads. Each woman received 4 reusable pads, 1 new underwear, 1 bar of soap, 1 pad holder, 1 Ziploc bag to keep used pad until they wash it. So the women were really excited about that.
The second batch of the sharing going on. This is the people that have received the pads. All these women benefiting from KIRWA Foundation right here at Adagom Settlement, Cameroon refugees. The sharing is still going on.
So each pad is 980 naira, and we ordered 1,000 pads. So we spent 980,000 naira on the pads to get 1,000 pads. Plus transportation from Abuja, we spent about 1 million naira on the pads. But guess what? They said it's not enough. There are women who were so disappointed that they couldn't get the pads. Keep in mind that these pads will sustain them for the next 2 to 3 years. They no longer have to worry about pads whenever they have their period. So being a medical doctor, Dr. Sesson went to visit the clinic at the settlement only to find out that they had no medication. He called me and he said, Adeola, these people have no medication. The nurses are begging us for drugs. I was like, well, we didn't plan on doing that, but hey, it's not ideal that people will have no access to medication. You know, from time to time, there will be emergency cases. They have to be able to take care of that. So they went out that night and they bought them more than 25 different types of medication. They bought malaria medication, antibiotics, anti-diarrhea, anti-worm, iron medication for pregnant women, first aid medications. They bought medications worth 232,000 naira, and the nurses were so happy. This is one of the nurses thanking you guys for making this possible.
Just for the use of the settlement for the meantime. Yeah. We hope that in time we'll still be able to provide more for you.
We asked for small and we are giving like a handful of yam, but we appreciate from the bottom of our hearts. And ask that wherever it came out from, that God will restore.
Oh, thank you so much. So we're really happy that now they have medication and they're so happy about that. So the main purpose of them going that weekend was actually to figure out the logistics of empowering people with skills that they could turn into money. So the first one is soap making. We've made arrangement for a soap maker that lives in the settlement to train 50 people. He would train them in batches. So he said that each training would need 20,000 naira for the materials that they need for the training. They will be training them for 10 weeks. So 20,000 naira for 50 trainees, that is 1 million naira. We've also made arrangements with 6 tailors, fashion designers. Each one of them will train 5 people for 6 months. And when they are done, we'll buy each one of them a sewing machine. So we'll buy them some sewing machines for the training and then buy each one of them a sewing machine upon graduation. And we want them to train others upon graduation. Also, they found 4 barbers among the refugees, each one willing to train 5 people in 2 months. And then they will train another 5 people for another 2 months. In total, each one one of the barbers would train 15 people. Altogether, they would train 60 people. And of course, we'll buy each one of them clippers. And those 60 people will now train others as well. They also found 2 hairdressers who are willing to train 20 people. So they will also train them in batches. And so, of course, our representatives will be going back again to work with the people. Meanwhile, we'll also get started on building the toilet so that people can have good water and good toilets while they're being empowered. Those things are very important. Until you don't have access to them, that is when you will appreciate having a good toilet. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for all your donations. We wouldn't have been able to do any of these things without you guys. And as we continue to go along, I'll be bringing you like a breakdown of how much we have spent. So I just wanted to bring you some good news this week. A huge shout out to the Southern Cam Humanitarian Initiative. That's a Cameroonian organization here in the US. I believe they are based in Chicago. They called me that they wanted to donate, and I told them to put it on GoFundMe, but they asked whether GoFundMe would take part of the money, and I told them yes, GoFundMe would take certain percent of the money. So they said no, we want you to have everything. So they mailed me a check of $1,500. Thank you so much for doing this. And you know the funny thing, they didn't know that we were thinking about buying reusable pads for the women, but on their check they wrote money for pads, and we were like, wow. So we were able to add this to the money that we used to buy pads. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Not just them, all the Cameroonian groups that donated, and every single individual that donated money. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. And yes, we're still taking donations. You can donate on GoFundMe, or you can donate directly to our bank account here or our bank account in Nigeria. Well, you guys not don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.